Shand Ali Jat is a ghost hunting fashion model with a YouTube channel based out of Pakistan. Look what happens moments after he is caught on camera getting chills. A low-flying bat distracts them long enough to turn their back to a boarded-up window. Something bangs on this barricade from the other side. They stand in the center of the room more than an arm's length away from everything in sight. The ghost always seems to wait until their back is turned before it throws open a door or a window. They put a scroll in front of the fireplace, and the evil spirit sets the parchment on fire out of disapproval. The way it goes out is just as unnatural as the way it begins. None of them did anything to cause this that I can see. It's as if it spontaneously combusted. As they examine the door, this YouTuber is thrown into the wall by a paranormal force. It doesn't look like he jumped into the wall either. His head is up and his arms are down as if he's being held by the neck as he lays gasping on the ground. One of their cameras captures the fireplace silently roaring back to life like it's feeding off of their fear. Meanwhile, this final ghost sighting is caught on tape in the far corner of the room. It might be edited, but based on all of the other creepy paranormal evidence, I wouldn't be surprised if it was real. Kenny Brown, 17, posted this video of his dog Lola sensing a ghostly presence in his home in 2013. At the start of the clip, the dog is seen backing nervously out of the kitchen into the hallway. It then turns to walk out into the hall. The dog is a tripper, the YouTuber says. There's something in the kitchen that's freaking her out. He goes into the kitchen to investigate, and there seems to be nothing at all. The dog peeks her head out from the hallway again, and her owner says that she wants to eat, but she's too paranoid to enter the kitchen. What is she seeing in there? She then walks cautiously around the corner and lays on her dog bed in the living room. She lays there for a time, but then gets up and heads into the hallway once again. She creeps back into the kitchen and looks as though she may be over her fear.
Watch, she's back out. Look.
And she eats a bit of her food, but the courage lasts only a moment as the dog again cautiously walks backwards out of the kitchen, looking fearfully at something. She darts back into the hallway. She heads back in again to eat more of her food, only to back out again, looking the whole while at the same spot. She cannot remove her eyes from whatever is making her so fearful. She looks around the corner one last time, but won't risk going in there again. So what is Lola afraid of? Some in the comments section of this video think it's the frequencies in the television that are affecting her. Both make sense, but likely only one is the real answer. A ghost hunter in India named Grey Wolf describes exploring this haunted school as unexplainable, a terrifying event that has left him never the same. They set up a summoning circle in one of the most haunted places in the whole school. Tell me what they are saying because it sounds like a kind of ritual spell, one that seems to work all too well. They need to go back and end the ceremony or be haunted forever, so they regather themselves and march back to the room as one. Tell me what he says to the spirit to make this happen. Apparently the spirit never wants to be unsummoned, and so it's taken the candles away, or maybe Grey Wolf simply covered the camera with his hand to make it look like the candles went out, at which point he stopped recording, removed the candles from the circle, and began recording again. If there's no editing though, then you have to agree this is beyond scary. A YouTuber in Toronto called Nadell E claims to have heard scary sounds coming from the sky that many people have been calling sky trumpets. Tell me if you think these scary sounds from over the sky in Canada are real or fake. It's realistic how the sky sounds get louder after he opens the window, but that could be editing. Some people are saying that they've heard this same sky noise, while others are saying that this has to be fake and that they've heard the sound effect before, but don't say where they've heard it from. Likewise, Nadell E kind of says that this video is fake, but it might be sarcastic, like he's saying this event is real and one day you'll see. How do you interpret this comment? Here's the sky noise again. Tell me what this is and if you've heard it anywhere before. Sometimes ghosts are just forewarning you about what's around the corner. YouTuber Paranormal Voyages shares this freaky short in which he's speaking to a spirit through a spirit box.
I just seen a shadow. What was that? Was that you? Whoa!
The spirit literally tells him, "The bat's in," and a moment later,
whoa!
Well, the bat's in. It feels pretty hard to be a skeptic after that series of events. A family was reportedly taken from this scary abandoned house, and these ghost hunters are here to investigate. Published by Dark Arts TV in August of 2021, they first come across a photograph of creepy porcelain dolls. They then open the door to a room before heading outside. While outside, they hear an unexplained sound.
So I got a big torch out now. Yo, the car's just banged.
Another happens shortly after, scaring the crew.
This video right. Right now. Energy.com for sponsoring this video right.
Back inside, while one of them is waiting for the other near the stairs, the front door opens. Later they hear voices, and it sounds like someone is at the door. When they ask the spirit to show itself, they hear it again.
Can you show yourself?
What's that?
Outside again, they speak to the spirit through the spirit box, and he tells them what he's ready for. They later hear male voices, not through the spirit box, but nearby.
Man's voice, yeah.
Two people talking.
Yeah, I'm turning this off, mate.
They decide it's time to leave before they get taken to. Paranormal investigator Tim Morozov has seen a lot in his line of work, but he calls this the worst night he's ever had in a haunted house. Let's see why. First, something appears on his monitor. A little later, the lights go out. Then something lets itself in. Tim checks it out. When he doesn't find anything, he decides to sleep, but he really shouldn't. The demon seems to have choked him. And that's not the end of it. He says the inscription was written as if from inside the mirror. Later, the demon is again captured creeping on the monitor.
Можете дать мне знак?
As Tim looks for him, he's found hiding. And the game continues. Until the demon makes its move. I don't think I've seen a demon appear on camera like that before. And then for it to get so aggressive, Tim is lucky to have made it out alive. Onasi Olio Rojas uses Facebook Live to record himself doing 115 miles per hour on the highway in Providence, Rhode Island, blasting loud music the entire time. He thinks nothing of swerving in and out of traffic, cutting off cars over and over again while going breakneck speeds. His high-speed escapade only lasts about 2 minutes before he cuts into the shoulder and fails to pull off a quick 2-lane change.
Let's get it, puppy.
What you don't see in the final moments of this video is the garbage truck slamming into him from behind, sending Onasi into the concrete barrier and then into a dead stop in the middle of the road. He survived and was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest, followed by 6 months of probation. Based on this video, tell me if you think he has received a fair sentence. A security video taken on October 18th of 2020 looks all quiet at first until... out of the center of the pile rises this astonishingly creepy face. I really hope this is a bored store employee who decided to make his shift more interesting by putting on a store mask and creating a scary video. If so, consider me successfully freaked out. If not, then I don't even want to know what this creature really is. Ever felt like you were being watched? These three boys definitely had reason to. Posted by the Comics Man to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader writes, "Some dudes go to the Danakil Desert or a park. What is in the first frame? The video shows 3 kids getting ready to do some parkour, everyday kid stuff, but not far beyond in the background. Look at what is watching them from a nearby tree. The figure appears like a silhouette and gives off serious Slenderman vibes. The ominous way it's lurking there makes the otherwise innocent parkour video intensely creepy. You can vaguely see the figure again at a distance at 1 minute and 43 seconds. It continues to stand there in the clump of trees, and again around 3 minutes in. What is this thing? Do these boys have a lurker? Nowhere is safe. This bike rider is about to get ghosted. Published by Scary Desk in February of 2022. A man on a motorbike stops in the middle of the road, and he's looking down the street at something. A pedestrian also stops nearby, and he seems to be looking at the same thing, which so far is off screen. After the pedestrian leaves, we see this. A shadow figure walks determinedly at the dude on the motorbike. As he gets closer, he disappears for a moment, but the man deliberately pushes his bike over as if to make a blockade between them and then runs off. The shadow figure suddenly reappears, and he surprisingly runs off too in the opposite direction. What is going on with this confrontation? It looks like the shadow was as afraid of the encounter as these guys were. In 2014, Paranormal Lana created her channel, and it soon became one of the fastest growing channels in the scary community. Her channel had reached over 50,000 subscribers, until on a September day in 2015, her channel vanished without a trace or reason. Since then, theories have abounded online about what caused her disappearance, though some think she just became bored with the platform. A more disturbing theory has picked up interest. Shortly before her disappearance, she posted the following on social media: "Had a pretty scary stalking incident, so unfortunately I'm having to change the way I run my social media. No more Facebook." Since then, many have wondered if this stalker had a part in her disappearance. It's certainly plausible, but since there's been no update since 2015, we will never know for sure. What do you expect to encounter inside a morgue but the Passed Away? Published by Kay in September of 2016, this exploration of a haunted abandoned morgue turns cold. Kay and crew arrive at the morgue at night, wandering around it and find a way in. They enter through a piece of metal exterior that has been ripped off. While exploring, they come across the beds where the people are examined.
Oh my god, that's the deathbeds. Wait, mate. That's fucking the deathbeds.
They also spot a creepy message on the wall that reads, "You're not supposed to be here. We will get you." In another room, dripping in red liquid, is the word beware.
Why does it say beware? What the is this? What?
Beware of what? Let's see. Down a hallway, they find a mattress on the floor. Apparently, someone is calling this mortuary home.
Is that a microwave here?
They then come across what might be the crematorium, or maybe just where the passed on are kept waiting.
Oh my god, mate, what are these doors? What is kept in there?
At one point, when they've just entered another room, one of the crew turns quickly around and pushes his friends back the other way. That's when they hurry out of the morgue. Kay explains that what he saw in the last room was the shadow of a man on the floor. When he entered, the man got up and glass started cracking. Was it the man whose bed they saw in the hallway? Or was this a ghost that was about to cause true havoc? Are we being possessed by shadowy forces without even knowing it? Posted on Blah Blah's channel in January of 2022, this scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. The footage shows a woman walking a dirt path along a hillside overlooking a city. She is carrying a bag and she's alone. As the cameraman follows a short way behind, a mysterious and barely visible dark figure comes toward the woman on the path. The shadow figure runs right at the woman, but she doesn't notice it and continues on her way. Did the spirit possess her? Well, this captured our imaginations. As it turns out, after doing some research, I found the video is VFX produced by YouTuber Dark3. Still, the image will prompt you to look over your shoulder the next time you think you're alone. You never know what's behind you until it's too late. 1974, Disneyland opened up a new attraction called America Sings, where robotic animals would sing together as one. Animatronics was a relatively new technology at the time, and this footage was taken just weeks after the attraction debuted.
Yankee Doodle liked the South, sang their song so dear, thought they were most elegant for everyone to hear.
The show is going as planned until a loud interruption happens just seconds after the lights go down. What you just heard was supposedly the final screams of a Disneyland employee named Deborah Stone. Deborah was an announcer for America Sings, and she passed away after accidentally stepping into a powerful mechanical device used to rotate the walls of the theater. Apparently, Deborah's demise is a true story, but I can't tell if this scream was really hers or added in later. The scream itself does sound a little too clear to me, and possibly sounds like it was recorded using modern equipment, but I'm definitely not an expert in this department. If you think this scream was real, then be sure to let me know how you can tell. A ghost voice drifting from deep inside a tunnel is something that nightmares are made of. That's what Amy Dancing Again posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit under the title, Ghost Voice at WW2 Oil Storage Tunnels in Darwin, NT, Australia. Although the acoustics of this tunnel have been called haunting, our research uncovered no further reported paranormal activities in the tunnels, although they seem like the perfect setting for them. The tunnels were built to protect oil. Japan went after the city of Darwin no less than 64 times during this time frame, ending in 1945, with only 6 of the 11 tunnels completed. The tunnels were then opened to the public in 1992, which is how this Redditor came to explore them. They were the only people in the tunnel, as they arrived early. Another Redditor wrote in the thread that the way the camera moves when you hear the voice makes the video seem legit. What is this voice saying? I just can't seem to make it out. A YouTuber named You Want Sun catches an eerie moment on live TV when this news anchor has a problem unlike any I've seen. She sounds normal the entire time, but she starts blinking excessively, followed by this.
Is reporting a record turnout at this point. Nevada and Nebraska are also showing that Democrats are getting a jump on early voting. In Washington, I'm Susan Roberts. Ron and Mary.
Pause.
I've seen videos where both eyes change into a creepy off color before, but I've never seen a video where one eye stays the same and one eye does whatever this is. Also, they cut away from her as soon as it happens, which makes Yuwat's son wonder what exactly happened here. I think it's possible, but I'm not sure, so I'd like to get your thoughts. Was this a glitch or something way worse? You know, when you're nonchalantly taking video, panning across the room, and this happens? This short clip posted to YouTube by Baku DD is not meant to be a jump scare, but it'll have you jumping scared anyway. As the woman films her apartment with a blurry camera, she pans around to a hallway that appears to be filled with sunlight, perhaps by a window backlighting the area, and there stands a tall, looming figure that apparently shouldn't be there at all, judging by the woman's frightened reaction. The woman shrieks, and the shot moves sideways as she jumps in fright. When she pans back to the hallway, the figure is gone. This is either a fantastic fake or the real deal. Whether you think it's legit or not, it's probably something you wouldn't want to witness in the flesh. A ghost voice drifting from deep inside a tunnel is something that nightmares are made of. That's what Amy Dancing Again posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit under the title, Ghost Voice at WW2 Oil Storage Tunnels in Darwin, NT, Australia. Although the acoustics of this tunnel have been called haunting, our research uncovered no further reported paranormal activities in the tunnels, although they seem like the perfect setting for them. The tunnels were built to protect oil. Japan went after the city of Darwin no less than 64 times during this time frame, ending in 1945, with only 6 of the 11 tunnels completed. The tunnels were then opened to the public in 1992, which is how this Redditor came to explore them. They were the only people in the tunnel as they arrived early. Another Redditor wrote in the thread that the way the camera moves when you hear the voice makes the video seem legit. What is this voice saying? I just can't seem to make it out. Derek Desso Daly finds himself in a darkened cemetery on a 24-hour challenge with some friends. There's only some basic snacks and a small flashlight to split between the three of them, but they feel confident nothing serious will happen. Derek barely gets into the cemetery, and already he hears strange sounds that I don't think can easily be faked.
I know that I don't see anything past this room. Oh, what's that sound? Hey man, there's somebody walking right there, bro. Where?
Derek claims to see someone off in the distance, though I personally don't see anything. Still, he turns off his flashlight and quietly walks away to avoid detection. Other than that, nothing else happens until around 3 a.m., at which point the strange sounds return, even louder this time.
Ouija board, yeah, we have a Ouija board and we have a... Yo,
They start playing with the homemade Ouija board and think they see something move in the trees. Then they think they hear footsteps. It's hard to say if they are just being paranoid or really experiencing something paranormal, since nothing special is caught on camera. Later though, when they begin chanting a spell to speak with any nearby spirits, I can definitely hear what they are talking about. Eventually, one of them gets separated from the group and is covered in red when he returns. He claims to have fallen, but something about his story sounds off.
John, what happened? Something fell.
Something falling on its own seems quite unlikely, making the claim of paranormal activity even more plausible. If you didn't like going to school, this video will validate your feelings. Posted to YouTube by Alan Ubig in June of 2018, the uploader writes, "The ghost of the Victoria School Lagoon was captured on CCTV yesterday at 9 a.m. A man is sweeping the floor, minding his own business, when about 10 feet away, two items which look like standing dustpans glide across the room, moving from one side of the path to the other. No one else is around. The strange thing is that the man cleaning just watches this happen, but doesn't react whatsoever. Maybe he's all too familiar with the Victoria School ghost. Who or what is playing here? Is it something that can be explained, or is this school undoubtedly haunted?" Two ghost hunters from a UK channel called Paranormal Hauntings go exploring an abandoned building called the Ye Old Harrow Inn, a place well known for paranormal activity. Investigating the front desk leads to this moment of spooky tranquility.
Just gonna turn that off. A minute.
Their camera has caught an abundance of orbs in this area. In this area alone, including one extra bright orb that outshines the rest, a spirit they claim. Dust covers everything they've been exploring in this abandoned place, so maybe that was it. The ghost hunters unpack their equipment and capture some rather scary EVPs on video. Something in the next room over speaks to them from the darkness.
That looks creepy. I can see her. Are you down the corridor?
A woman whispers to take her hand. Apparently, she's sitting in the doorway, watching. And maybe even reaching out for them.
Okay guys, some weird stuff has been happening in my room and I feel like I need to document this.
Safi B has a collection of haunted dolls that seem to have been moving on their own. She explains how no one can be going inside to move them because she keeps her door locked during the day, and after she's finished, she hears this noise.
I haven't told you guys this, but like lately I've been hearing my door rattle and it's like...
The movement is not coming from the door, but rather from somewhere deeper within the room. which she has clearly shown to be empty, except for her and her dolls. And soon she finds her answer.
No.
A solid black Ouija pointer falls off the shelf and lands. This bizarre video of Space Mountain was recorded by a YouTuber named Jake Tungsten. Jake originally recorded it just to have a memory of the thrilling ride forever, but when he reviewed it later, he saw what in his words was a real ghost. Some sort of phantasm does seem to briefly materialize and hover in the right side of the screen as the roller coaster passes by. Then the same thing happens as the roller coaster climbs upwards. Finally, a transparent figure briefly appears to the right of the track during the descent. I'm not sure if these are real or just some sort of hologram projections created by Disney, but the man who recorded this is absolutely convinced that he has caught a ghost on tape. It could even be the famous Mr. One-Way ghost seen in the previous video. If you have ever seen anything similar on the Space Mountain ride, let me know. Together, maybe we can verify this rumor or finally put it to rest. A team of ghost hunters are inside of an abandoned home when they catch what appears to be a transparent phantasm at the top of the stairs.
Hold still for a second. Hello?
I'll admit that I did not see what they were talking about at first, but when you replay the video at half speed, it's easier to see a clear outline of a person's head and shoulders. The figure starts out facing the camera and then darts through a door on the right. I'm not sure if this is CGI or not, but let me know if you can see it, and if so, what you think it was. This video very quickly turns into one of the worst fears that I think most people have. Your parents walking in on you doing something embarrassing. This is believed to be a Twitch streamer from Russia, but I was unable to track down who this streamer is. If you know, let me know in the comments. But anyways, she's in the middle of lip syncing a Japanese song for the viewers watching her Twitch stream. That's when she hears her door opening. She quickly jumps to turn the music off, clearly embarrassed he's just walked into her stream. Apparently, this is her stepdad, and they have a short conversation before she starts closing the door on him. It's always been a fear of mine to get walked in on while singing along to my favorite songs, but I can only imagine how worse it would be to have it happen while in a cosplay outfit and live streaming. It might be time to buy a lock.
We are going to an abandoned house today. It's near my house. No one's been in for like 4 or 5 years. The place is haunted.
A YouTuber named Chippy Watson is exploring an abandoned house at 3 a.m. to make a video they will forever remember as a paranormal investigation gone wrong. First, they find this little room that gives them the creeps and makes them shut the door because a ghost is near, or at least that's what it feels like to them.
Whoa, no, shut that.
I bet you didn't notice this, but at 2 minutes and 21 seconds, right when he opens the door, a ghost orb or some kind of strange light is caught on camera seemingly moving into the small room. That's creepy.
Come, shut. You're shutting it. It's completely shut. Completely shut.
Alright, let's get up in the attic because we never did.
They don't go exploring much of the attic because the floor is nothing but soft insulation that they don't want to fall through at any time, much less at 3 a.m. I don't see anything haunted or scary caught on camera here, but if you do, let me know. They find some more weird and possibly paranormal evidence in the basement in the form of footsteps in the dust. Someone has been walking around in circles over and over again and kicking holes in this room.
What are all those footsteps? Look at the holes in the wall.
Maybe poltergeist activity, maybe kids partying in an abandoned house. The group goes exploring upstairs some more and finds the door open. A ghost opened the door, they think. I say it could be a loose doorknob, of which there are plenty to be found in abandoned houses, but then again they did get scared in this part before and felt like a ghost was near, so it could be paranormal. And that's when the scariest 3 a.m. moment of all happens. His friend tells him to come closer to catch the scary ghost noises on camera.
What?
Did you just knock?
Soft knocking noises are coming from the other side of the door. It's not them either. The stick he's holding doesn't touch the wall. Watch.
What? What? What?
And when two more knocks happen, well, he's standing even farther away, so it's not him.
Did you just knock?
Who knows what they would have seen if they looked inside the room for a final time. This dashcam footage was taken from the Garland City Police Department. A police officer is chasing a car at high speeds when things suddenly go off-road. The car has turned into a dead end and is coming up on a chain link fence. It looks like the chase is over, but then this happens.
The fence at the end means no way out, or does it?
The car appears to have escaped through a solid chain link fence with no gate or any other type of opening to pass through. Every officer who has reviewed this footage has been completely baffled, and no explanation has ever been given. You can tell by the angle of the car's brake lights that it was driving straight the whole time and did not swerve around the fence. Somehow there's no signs of damage to the fence. It looks completely untouched. A YouTuber named Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are hanging out by a river when they see an old abandoned cooler on the other side. They don't pay much attention to it at first, but after a while they grow curious as to what could possibly be inside. Finally, they can't take the suspense anymore and decide to retrieve the floating container. What they find inside is troubling.
Open the hatch.
They remove an excessive amount of masking tape and pop the lid only to see a black-eyed doll peering back at them. The creepy doll is dressed in red suspenders and its head is turned directly towards the camera. No one knows what to make of this unsettling discovery, and they all stand around for a bit laughing nervously. To this day, the group has absolutely no explanation as to how or why this doll was sealed and sent down the river, or more importantly, who is responsible for this strange message. This isn't a gentle good morning. Published to YouTube by C4CAT in March of 2018. This is what happens when an early bird of a ghost is angry that you're not up yet. The video shows a man asleep in bed as window curtains nearly blow, at times pushing the entire curtain to the side. The young man at first remains undisturbed by this. At one point when the curtain is brushed over, you can see something white appear behind the bars of the window. Then an obscure flash of white passes close to the camera. Shortly after, there's a slow disturbance in the man's blanket. Part of it lifts until the entire blanket billows up. It's then ripped off of him by an unseen force. Like a bucket of cold water, this is one alarm clock you wouldn't want to wake up to. A YouTuber named Texas Savage has traces of paranormal activity left outside her bedroom door, or so she claims. Look at this part and tell me if you can see what she means. And if you can't see it, it's much more apparent in this next video of hers that I'm about to show. You can see it a bit better here, as she points out the individual fingers and notices the lack of a thumb.
Here's one, and here's one. But there's no thumb.
In this next video taken on a different day, you can get a better look at the handprints and see how long the fingers really were, far too big to be on her own. And since she claims to live alone, it can't be anyone else unless someone has been going into her bedroom without her knowing. On this day, she also finds some fresh scratches not too far from where the handprint is, and while inspecting the rest of her house, she finds two new marks at the bottom of her bathroom door that are perfectly aligned, almost ghost-like eyes. If you don't think this is real, then what do you think caused this? Just like all of the other markings, she can recall nothing happening in this room to make them appear overnight. A very similar sounding shriek to the so-called cougar. This one claims the sound is coming from none other than a monster from traditional Latin America folklore known as La Llorona. According to legend, La Llorona was the unloved mother of her 2 sons. Her husband loved his sons more than her and also had an affair with another woman, causing La Llorona to break. She is said to have taken the lives of her 2 boys in a river in a rage, following them in grief by taking her own alongside their bodies. Now she wanders the earth in search of the souls of her sons. The terrifying wailing of her grief is heard throughout Latin America. Those who hear her cries are said to face misfortune or even have their lives taken. So maybe just to be on the safe side, turn down the volume for this one. Published to YouTube in September of 2018, the horrifying demonic scream at the start of the video definitely doesn't sound human. In fact, it makes you want to urge whoever is filming to get someplace safe, fast. Instead, he films outside on the rain-filled streets at night as La Llorona screeches demonically in an animalistic cry. Shortly after, a more human-like woman's weeping is heard. The man approaches the phantom voice in the darkness. It's difficult to make out a figure in all this, but he speaks to her, and she responds, which makes one think this is a real human woman making these sounds, not La Llorona after all.
¿Tienes dulce? ¿Tu esposa?
After a while of the man chatting back and forth with her, and then answering his radio, the woman falls silent. Barry in the comments says, "I understand Spanish. She seems to have multiple personalities. Was that inhuman sound made by a human person? Someone with multiple personalities? Perhaps someone possessed? Or is this La Llorona in the flesh?" Amit Daksh has caught some scary activity at the Babina station in India that he thinks could be paranormal. He's filming a train pass by when a shadow figure passes in front of him at 20 seconds. He thinks this could be a real ghost sighting he's caught on tape, but I'm wondering if it's his own shadow under the train's bright lights. Something's weird about the angle though, so maybe it's a real person or a shadow figure like he claims. Freaky, right? A YouTuber named Craig Wilson was doing some home repairs when he noticed a small hole in his backyard. He opened it up a little more and was shocked at what he found waiting down below.
This hole goes down, down, down to a giant cavern.
It's a gigantic earthen cavern extending a full 16 feet straight down. Craig wonders out loud if this was natural or man-made as he continues to videotape from a dizzying height. Craig quickly had the hole filled the next day, but he'll never forget about the huge underground threat that was once threatening his home. He and his wife think that it was probably a well about 60 or 70 years ago, but they aren't positive. I'm just relieved that the hole didn't widen while he was standing over the edge. Jelly Spotters is making a YouTube video with a homemade Ouija board. They barely get out a few questions before one of the candles starts to do something really weird.
W-R-T. What? You see that candle? Okay.
Jelly Spotters is not standing near any fans and all of the windows are closed. Plus, if it was the wind, then the other candles should go out as well. After a while, it becomes apparent that the spirit is using the candle to answer them instead of the board.
Do you want us to say goodbye? Do you want us to leave? Can we please say goodbye? Yes? Alright. Let's go.
A paranormal explorer from Turkey named Ansari is documenting a haunted tunnel that's too scary for him to get very far.
جوا يا بسم الله شو هاد والله العظيم اطلعوا يا بسم الله.
Behind him, an eerie red ring radiates with an evil force. He knows he has to get out quick or else he will succumb to its terrifying effects, but as he creeps near the entrance, the haunted tunnel takes a final swipe at him.
في صوت حركة بسم الله شو هاد خليني أقرب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يلي موجود هون. بسم الله. سمعتوه أقسم بالله العظيم في صوت حركة. يا والله العظيم في شيء عم يركض جوا. بسم الله.
Ansari's had enough and decides to block off the tunnel to contain whatever evil is inside, but it seems as though whatever scary thing he's caught on tape has other plans.
إنه هالفكرة هي منيحة. من هون لبكرة أنا ببين معي إذا رح يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أقسم بالله العظيم شفت شلون شالت.
It seems like the rock could have simply fallen over here, but it's very heavy and shouldn't tip over so easily. It's hard to say if it was pushed over by a ghost or simply off balance to begin with, so let me know if you think this video is paranormal or not. As for why only a small portion of the tunnel would be glowing red like that, I have no idea. A bizarre video with little context has left people speculating what creepy things are happening here. At first, this looks like a woman going about her day, but rumor is that she is walking around taking things that could belong to the man on the bed, and that he might even be incapacitated in some way, helpless to do anything but watch Frozen. I think there might be something to this because she grabs a device at 1 minute and 23 seconds, and then an identical device at 1 minute and 40 seconds, while possibly looking for cameras. Was all this stuff hers or not? Since these are rumors and speculation, we'll never know for sure. Vijama is taking the 24-hour challenge in a haunted house that burned down 10 years ago, claiming the lives of an entire family inside. All throughout the night they feel nervous and on edge, as if they're being watched by something that does not appreciate their presence at all.
No, I heard something in there.
Despite feeling persistently watched, the two friends manage to fall asleep for a while. Then this YouTuber is suddenly awakened by his friend, who claims to have heard something.
He was asleep, bro. It was like, I just heard a massive bang, so I'm gonna see what it is.
Vijama looks really tired and worn down during this scene, which makes me think it could be real. They're checking out the room where the noise was coming from, when suddenly they feel like they're being watched again.
That's probably the gas fan. What the was that? Alex?
It could be the camera lighting, but I feel like I definitely see a shadowy figure retract into the doorway as soon as they turn around. Watch this part again in slow motion and tell me if you see any strange fluttering movements in the doorway. The cameraman bravely goes into the room where the shadow last retreated and finds a very tiny unnatural doorway leading to who knows where. At this point, they've seen enough and quickly exit without completing the challenge or finding out where the narrow entrance goes. This footage comes from somewhere in the Middle East. A group of teenagers are curiously exploring an old school. They go up a flight of steps and pause when they hear a dog whining on the other side of the door. They all run down the steps and gather at the bottom. They're afraid of being attacked by a group of stray dogs now, but they decide to press on and explore the lower areas. The group finds bravery in their numbers and begins to joke and laugh again as they make their way down a long hallway. They open a door and find graffiti on the wall. Other people had been here before them. Maybe this place isn't so bad after all. The teens grow a little more nervous as they continue to poke around. They are laughing less and starting to go silent. Something just isn't right about this section of the building. A YouTuber named Zabin Jaguar translated their comments. He says at this point one of the teens say that their phone shut itself off even though it was fully charged only a moment ago. Another person was able to keep recording, though they probably now wish they hadn't. They enter one classroom in particular and get a dreadful feeling. Suddenly, a figure actually appears out of thin air and walks towards them. The ghost is missing his head, but there's somehow no blood. A loud chanting begins as soon as the ghost walks towards them, but this may be prayers from a nearby mosque. Amazingly, the group all appears to have missed the ghost, which explains why they calmly continue to keep exploring. They wouldn't see the apparition until much later, but when they did, they would never forget what was heading straight towards them in that room. Bryn is ready to take a hike through the infamous Aokigahara forest in Mount Fuji, Japan. It isn't long before he finds a dark and foreboding entrance. He's not very far inside when he comes across an abandoned bike. Laying on the seat is the open packaging for a kitchen knife. Sadly, it is clear that this person came here with one clear purpose. A short while later, he comes across a bag that is empty except for a note. He tries to read the Japanese writing and comes up short.
It says 1211. I can't quite make out. I think this is somebody's name just here. And I'm not sure what this means.
If you can read the message, then please share what it says with me so that we'll know once and for all. As soon as he's finished reading, a crow caws directly overhead.
Later.
It's an ominous sign for sure, so Bryn decides to get out of there before anything bad happens. A slamming door wakes up Tiana Wilson and her family, who have long suspected their house to be haunted. They grab a camera and timidly go exploring upstairs. Shortly afterwards, an alarm fills the house and things get even creepier.
What's that beeping?
Oh, listen.
No way. Oh, we need to go. We can't.
That's what the beeping is. It's the fridge.
They shut the fridge and wonder how it was opened in the first place. That's when their grandmother, who is staying with them for a few days, comes to see what the commotion is.
Did you leave the fridge door open, Mom?
I can't remember if I did. I know I went in and took a bucket of water out. Probably I did.
The grandmother isn't sure if she left the fridge open or not.
What's this now? Have you been asleep, Ruby?
Yes, is the knife down here wake me up? I don't get up this time of morning.
Is my mum a ghost?
But she definitely didn't shut any doors.
I'm sure it's about 1:30.
Yeah. I can see something.
And when they go back and review the video, they find a shadow figure staring at them from the end of the hallway. Freaky, right? People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. A YouTuber named RevoX encounters a wild pheasant in the graveyard that is not at all afraid. The colorful bird looks over its shoulder to make sure he is watching, and then takes the lead, guiding him someplace quite important that I'll reveal in just a moment. It hops off the road, and at 1 minute and 8 seconds, walks this little beaten trail of matted grass.
Have you ever seen anything like it before?
That's been trampled over many times before. The determined little bird stops and circles back to the human, again showing absolutely no signs of fear. It even looks straight at him at the end like it knows what is being said.
There's my mum's grave, and it will remain, as it has done for the past few days, going round and round it.
So is this a real spirit guide or just a pet? Some Native Americans believed pheasants to be a sign of protection and concealment because they like to bury themselves in tall grass, a creepy behavior when taken within the context of a graveyard. They can be tamed, but even if this is a pet, I don't think you can teach it to lead you somewhere for over a minute, and I never see it get a food treat as a reward or anything, so I think it's real. Ever wish you had supernatural powers? Well, this video supposedly shows a Thai girl who discovered she did. When she was driven to anger at a bus stop, the video, shot in Thailand, begins with a girl smack-talking someone as she leaves the bus. She is being held back by a friend who remains quiet. The girl continues to point and exchange some heated words with the driver, who steps down from his post to return fire. Spectators watch from the ground, and others hang out of windows to witness the exchange. The shouting match continues in Thai with plenty of pointing and aggression. Another guy tries to intervene. He shouts at the girl and goes to slap her, but before he can, he is thrown back by a supernatural force. The spectators scream. The origin of this force seems to not be the shouting girl, but her silent friend who stood behind her. The quiet girl then steps forward and points her hand out, palm forward, and the bus driver flies up the side of the bus before dropping to the ground. The girl looks at her hands in amazement, as though this is the first time she's realized she has these scary supernatural powers. Everyone is quiet and staring at the girl. She turns in a circle, puts her hands out again, and a table and chairs fly backward. The bus driver yells at her, and she makes him fly into the air again, and even her friend backed away and won't come near her. The video ends with the girl looking down at her hands, collapsing to the ground, shaking and screaming shrilly, while the footage appears all too real, with no strings attached. Many in the YouTube comments call it out as a fake. YouTuber Pei Pina says, "I'm Thai, and Thai people like to make dramas with superpowers like this." While Jacob Zamet notes, the biggest flaw in this video is the fact that no one else is talking while the argument progresses, letting the main characters in this film be heard as the girl and the guy take turns. He also notes that video cameras or cell phones with video components, and it's unlikely that someone who just levitated would have another go at the person who just did it. All good points. Still a scary and intriguing video. You kind of wish it was real. Hurricane Irma was a Category 5 hurricane that lasted from late August until mid-September in 2017, with hurricane winds of up to 180 miles per hour. Irma devastated several areas, including the eastern United States, Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Bahamas, the Caribbean islands. Caught on tape and published by Tom Steers on September 15, 2017, the clip shows a downpour of rain and heavy winds over a swimming pool, assumedly on the coast of one of the affected areas. A man in black swimming trunks launches out into the wind and rain with a GoPro in his hand to hop into the hotel swimming pool. The water in the pool is heaving, not to the degree of the Nepali earthquake, but enough to where you certainly wouldn't want to test nature at its angriest.
I think the Canadians were watching this happen and the Americans were running out.
What's this video? Did he have a his hand?
Yeah.
No, he had a GoPro in his hand. Oh, yeah. God. I wish I could zoom this in. I can a little bit. But...
After a quick dip, however, the man pops back out unharmed. Another thrill seeker who could have wound up injured or worse from his thrill seeking. When somebody finds a spider in their home, some people would swat it on the spot with the nearest object, while others would try to find some way to let it go outside. Then there are a small percentage who would grab a camera and let the spider crawl all over them, like Feo3 here.
Oh yeah. I got a spider crawling on me.
He never intended for the arachnid to take a detour across his throat and then stamp its way across his face. He manages to stay calm and only has one thing to ask.
And it's crawling on my face, isn't it?
Why, yes it is. Right towards your ear hole, unfortunately. Thinking fast, he tries to divert the spider away from his ear, but ends up encouraging it to almost burrow straight inside. He is so lucky that the spider decides not to do that, because that would have been a horrible trip to the hospital for sure. Not that having a spider in your hair is any consolation prize, but you get what I mean. The next time you're relieved to find yourself alone in an empty subway car, consider that maybe you're not alone at all. Published to YouTube in June of 2015, this clip shows a subway car that will give you the chills. A lone man sits aboard the haunted car. After watching the clip, we wonder if he's the sole passenger, because this car has a reputation for being haunted. Because look at this darkened window pane to the left. A scary, distorted face appears here, changing expression slightly as the man sits on the opposite side, completely unaware. The face disappears and the window pane goes black again, but the distortion later reappears, looking equally upsetting. What do you think is going on here? Is this an actual face in the window? Or just a trick of the light coupled with motion from the subway? Some things are urban myth, then again some myths and legends have some basis in reality. Published to YouTube in June of 2007 by Heather Stone, the video shows Crybaby Bridge on Burroughs Road in Livonia, Georgia. Apparently there are several Crybaby Bridges in the state of Georgia. They're a thing of legend. This is one of those legends. Don't be fooled by the modern concrete bridge linking the county's two sides. The old iron bridge still stands alongside it, and that's where the haunting happens. The video shows a group of friends investigating the local legend. According to the video, the story goes that a new mother was riding home in a carriage with her newborn baby, and as they crossed the bridge, the horse became spooked. He jumped up, causing the carriage to tip over, and the occupants both lost their lives. From there, you might hear a baby cry, or haunting horse hooves on the road, or you might just see the woman in white searching for her baby over the bridge. When you come near her, she disappears. Will the group see any of this? You're about to find out. The group arrives on the bridge, exits the vehicle, and one of the girls screams the necessary words.
What?
Go for it, kid.
Yeah, sure, you can do it.
Feel your baby, lady!
A moment later, you can hear the car doors lock. The car alarm then goes off and sounds as though it's going haywire.
What? What? What's going on? What are you talking about? Oh my gosh! Oh, you are kidding! God. Oh my gosh!
They all clamber back into the vehicle, and as the driver is attempting to turn on the lights, you see the figure of a woman flash into view ahead on the bridge. Screaming ensues, lots of it.
Oh my god! Oh, turn on the lights! Turn on the lights! Turn on the lights!
Although there are plenty of naysayers in the comments, at least to attest to the validity of these girls' claims. Brandon Childs notes, I live over here by this. You get used to hearing screaming girls and sometimes guys in the middle of the night, but I do believe there's something about that bridge. Weird stuff, man. Weird is an understatement. Austin is nervous with anticipation over exploring the haunted Windsor Hotel in Georgia, a 24-hour paranormal investigation challenge that will leave all of them freaked out soon enough. A young person once fell down an elevator shaft in the early 1900s, and the place has been haunted ever since. Her ghost has been seen in hotel mirrors. Objects often move on their own. Austin isn't sure if he believes the paranormal rumors until weird things are caught on camera they've left running overnight. Keys and a wallet fall off the dresser while everyone is asleep. Both objects are planted securely on an even surface and have no reason to drop unless it was a ghost or a string. I don't see either, so I'm not sure what to think about this video at this point, but things are creepy so far. One of them wakes up and goes over to investigate the bizarre occurrence. What's caught on camera next is downright strange. As they are picking up the wallet and keys, a lamp clicks off. The noise sounds exactly like the button on their lamp.
You heard? Listen. You can literally hear the flick.
Something had to literally physically turn that off, bro.
So there's no doubt that a lamp turns on, but the question or not is if it's the one that's in front of them. If there were 4 beds in this room, then I feel like there would be a second lamp behind them off camera. Maybe they were turning that one off to make the clicking noise. Still, an overwhelming number of people agree this is paranormal. 682 to 15 as of the time of this video, and given the hotel's haunted history, I trust in what they saw and wouldn't be surprised if it was real. A YouTuber named Texas Savage has traces of paranormal activity left outside her bedroom door, or so she claims. Look at this part and tell me if you can see what she means, and if you can't see it, it's much more apparent in this next video of hers that I'm about to show. You can see it a bit better here, as she points out the individual fingers and notices the lack of a thumb.
Here's one, and here's one. But there's no thumb.
In this next video taken on a different day, you can get a better look at the handprints and see how long the fingers really were, far too big to be on her own. And since she claims to live alone, it can't be anyone else unless someone has been going into her bedroom without her knowing. On this day, she also finds some fresh scratches not too far from where the handprint is, and while inspecting the rest of her house, she finds 2 new marks at the bottom of her bathroom door that are perfectly aligned, almost like eyes. If you don't think this is real, then what do you think caused this? Just like all of the other markings, she can recall nothing happening in this room to make them appear overnight. A home security camera caught this scary sight in Corvina. Posted by Ruby Gonzalez in December of 2018, Ruby writes, 2 individuals tried to enter a home. One knocked on the door and called out the resident's first name several times. The family was home at the time. You can see one of the men approach with his hood up and a kerchief covering his mouth, wearing a backpack. He knocks on the door, waiting with his head down, likely aware of where the security camera is located. A second dude also approaches, dressed in the same fashion. He's carrying a crowbar. They knock a second and third time, alerting a small dog inside. When a car passes, they both turn to look down the street and ensure there are no witnesses. He knocks several more times, saying, "Come on, bro," but the second dude eventually taps him on the arm, indicating it's time to give up and leave, which thankfully they do. Whatever they came for, they left empty-handed. When you're an urban explorer planning to explore an abandoned building, be prepared to find it occupied. All Around Lifestyle published this video in December of 2015. Mike wrote, "Me and a mate went exploring in a grain elevator, which is located in Poland in a city called Warklaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices.
You can hear there's someone in there.
This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them, rubble on the ground, but in the far room, the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place. A coffee shop in New Jersey, known only as the Cafe, is rumored to be quite haunted. This used to be a hardware store long ago, and every day at 3 in the afternoon, the old owner is said to still make rounds. A paranormal investigation team sets up a camera to test the rumor out, and sure enough, at 3 in the afternoon, this light anomaly plays against the wall. It looks like someone is walking through the room at first, but then again, it could simply be light reflecting off the window of a vehicle driving by. Roughly half an hour later is when a second camera records this chair moving by itself. First it pulls out and then it smoothly goes back into place like somebody sitting at the table. There are no strings on the legs and no visible shadow on the wall, so I think it could have been a ghost like they say it was. The ghost hunters also claim to have heard footsteps too, but unfortunately the video evidence does not have sound, so there's no way to verify that part of their investigation. This happened in May of 2020, so hopefully we get more potential ghost sightings from this coffee shop in the near future. Nadeem Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज़ या कोई जिनों का साया नज़र आता है कि नहीं। हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो ओह नाजरीन, ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नज़र आया है। तो ये आवाज़ें कैसी आ रही हैं? आए नाजरीन, हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते।
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadeem. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghost into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज़ है। इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये इस तरफ से नजर आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश कर।
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadeem would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. Someone is watching in the woods. Published by Mr. Horror, this short clip shows a group hanging out in the forest and what looks like the ruins of an abandoned structure. As the camera turns from the surrounding trees to the building, it captures something creeping around the door frame. The mysterious figure is but a flash, and its features are indistinct. It quickly pulls out of view. The cameraman hurries forward, revealing a campfire built outside to the right, but it looks like the creature is long gone. What was it? Are they being stalked by the unknown? It sure looks that way to me. This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit, and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. There's not a lot of information available about this video, besides that it was broadcast live somewhere in Albania. 2 radio personalities are having a spirited discussion when suddenly they are interrupted by something that neither of them can explain.
Pjesa më e madhe janë pushim dhe po e shijojnë dhe një ditë mrekullueshme që është për jashtë. Wow.
Ç'ishte?
Ç'ishte kjo?
A newspaper flies up on its own in the middle of their conversation, and you don't have to speak the language to see the genuine surprise written all over the man's face as it happens. Still, I would really appreciate it if anyone who speaks Albanian could tell me what was being said, or tell me more about their show if you recognize them. I've watched this video many times, and I see no strings attached to the newspaper or anything like that. Obviously, it can't be magnets either. So if it's not magnets or string, then what could it possibly be besides a haunting? If you have a fear of heights, you might want to step away slowly from the edge of this video. El Camino del Rey, or the King's Little Path, is a high walkway in Spain that traverses a narrow gorge in El Charro near Malaga. Originally built to allow workers at a nearby hydroelectric power plant to transport materials, the walkway was first constructed at the turn of the 20th century. 3 feet in width and 330 feet above the river below, the walkway twists and turns around the steep walls of the gorge in a way that will make your head spin. It has been partially closed for more than 10 years after it fell into disrepair. In fact, it was once called the world's most dangerous walkway, as 5 passings occurred. Across only 2 years, renovations allowed the walkway to be reopened in 2015. Going back to the original, by 2006 much of the path had deteriorated. Several sections of the original concrete had completely collapsed, leaving large open gaps only traversable by the steel beams. The handrails were pretty much non-existent, with only a safety wire in its stead. Regardless, daredevils still walked the King's Path, and passings occurred regularly. Published in March of 2011 by AM, this video shows what it was like to walk the King's Path when it was in disrepair. The crumbling concrete stairs are guarded only by a short length of handrail. As the hiker makes his way upward, you can see the drop below is no joke. A single misplaced step can throw you hundreds of feet to your demise. Despite the risk, you can see why people put themselves in harm's way. The solitude surrounded by the glittering river below and the jagged rocks of the gorge is an experience worth having, not to mention the adrenaline rush of being a misstep away from passing on. Still, if your heart is pounding just by watching this video, I wouldn't recommend it. I certainly wouldn't do it either. Real Victoria is woken up by her cat hissing at something it sees in the bedroom window. The cat goes quiet when she starts recording, but it's definitely focused on some activity outside. She says this creepy looking character was looking in through her window, and he very well may have been, but at 4 seconds he also seems to be looking up and trying to get the attention of someone in the room above him. In fact, I think I hear him shout something and whistle loudly at the beginning of this video. What is he saying here? Eventually, he steps away and out of sight. I guess he either saw the camera, or he finally got the attention of someone in the unit above. Whatever he was up to, having a complete stranger anywhere near where you live at 5 in the morning is oddly terrifying. With that said, I do believe her, and I hope Real Victoria stays safe until her lease is up and she can get out of there. Who's tapping at the window at 3 a.m? This video by TikToker Diego Spikers will have you deadbolting your door. You can see a woman through the window aggressively knocking at the bathroom door of this apartment. But when the guy opens it to her, no one is there. Where did she go? Some in the comments say this could be After Effects editing. Others say he should have knocked back. I personally like that idea. Which side are you on here? Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.